big. I can't get over how big he is. Hello, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. We are live here, covered in pet hair, a boozy show for pet lovers. I'm doing technical stuff, so if you have to wrap something up, do it now so you can join us for this conversation about Maine Coon cats. And there's a Maine Coon on the screen right now to keep you entertained while I do the tech. I gotta do the tech. I hate the tech part of this. This is like the worst part. I hate it. The Instagram part of this always trips me up. But we'll see. Stream key. Let's put the stream key in. I have to like save changes. And then we're already live, so let us go live. Sometimes it makes me do it twice. Like okay. I'll just have to go through the process twice just because, oh, I think it worked.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, so let's see. Are we caught up though?
I don't know. Let me check. I can check on my phone. Hold on.
All right. I think we are.
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay, perfect. No, you see, I don't want to hear myself here. I can hear myself in both places, which is not what we want.
No, that's not fun. We do not want that.
Okay. We're going to have to, we'll be right back. Okay, let me end this live here. Remove. We're going to try that again. Let us try it again. Okay. I don't know. Am I still live on Facebook and YouTube? I don't know. I don't even know. We'll see. Let's try this again. Close out of Instagram completely. I closed out of Instagram completely, hoping that it will fix itself. No, but I'm still on. Let's see. All right. I guess we're live on both already. No, we're not. How do I end this live? Test.
Okay, we're live on YouTube.
No, you see, a lot of people are joining now. We're still live on Instagram.
Yeah, we're still live on Instagram. And then let me check Facebook.
Well, we don't want to be live on Instagram is the thing.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube too. Or I mean on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's still connecting, but I don't know what's going to happen here. Oh, end live video. Let me try that. Discard that video. That was a mess. We're going to start over. All right. Instagram really is feisty today, more than ever. Gosh, I thought I was going to get better at this, not worse at this.
Instagram is always having issues, I feel like.
Well, this is the thing. It doesn't want, for some reason, it doesn't want us to StreamYard, right? Like it just doesn't want it.
Yeah.
But Facebook has no problem with it, and it's all owned by Meta. So like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. They're all owned by the same people.
I know, but they don't want to work together.
No, and like StreamYard is the only place I can really do this in 3 places, and obviously I'm an efficiency like obsessed person, so I need to be everywhere I can be in one place.
Yeah.
So all right, I think we got it. I think we did it, and we're 3 minutes in. So thank you for those of you who are joining us on Facebook and YouTube. My apologies for the technology issue, but Pet Pampering Plus joined us. Thank you so much. I'm seeing things come in. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, say hi. I am going to get started here. So this is hi, the Mad Catter. You know the Mad Catter because we were all at CFA together. So
yes,
the Mad Catter just joined us. Okay, well, welcome to Covered in Pet Hair, a boozy show for pet lovers on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Isabel Alvarez-Arata, and today I have the pleasure of having a drink and a chat with Peek, the Maine Coon's mom. I'll tell you all about her and introduce you just now with a very long intro that I like to do for all of my guests. She is a pet parent, an avid hiker, a baker, a home chef. She's a foodie, a road tripper, a nature lover who's originally from Florida, but now lives seasonally between Florida and Maine. She is wife to Martin. She is, like I said, cat mom to the renowned Maine Coon, Peek, and his brother, Summit. She is Kaitlin Fitzgerald. She is the creator behind a cat named Peek. Welcome, Kaitlin. It's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I am so excited to see you again. You and I met at the CFA International Expo, Cat Show and Expo. You were you were in like, what was it called? The like famous cat section?
The celebrity cats, yeah.
Celebrity cats. She was where the celebrity cats were. We had a wedding that weekend where 2 Sphinxes got married, and then there were like some other cats and then there were those really cute cats that do they communicate through the buttons.
Oh.
I can't remember their names.
Oh, Louie and Todd.
Louie and Todd. Yes, Prince Louie or King Todd or something like that. Yes. And then there were other ones, but I remember just falling in love with Peek and Summit because Summit doesn't get any love, but Summit is stunning as well. So I want to introduce the show first with our drinking game as I do every week. So before we get into all of the nitty gritty, getting to know Kaitlin and her cats, I want to introduce our drinking game, which is just every time I say a word, you, audience, take a drink of whatever you're having. So today's word, Kaitlin, cover your eyes, please. Today's word is this, because I think in a conversation about Maine Coons, this word is going to come up a lot. So if you hear that word, take a drink of whatever you're enjoying. Kaitlin, you can look forward now. Okay. Don't worry. I've already put it away. Kaitlin obviously doesn't know the name or the word that we're going to do, but whatever you're doing, whatever you're drinking, just if you're drinking alcoholic beverages, be over 21 in the US to partake, never drink and drive, and always drink responsibly. And I have to say that extra today because I do think that word's going to come up a lot. So Kaitlin, I know that you indulged in a lot of wine while we were at the CFA International Cat Show and Expo because the bartender where we all stayed was very, very generous with the pours, right? Yeah. So yeah. What are you having any wine today? Are you a wine drinker?
I am. I have my wine here.
Oh, nice. Okay, so what is your favorite wine? What is like your go-to?
So we like to shop very budget friendly. So we have found the best wine is from Aldi's. They have their Winking Owl wine, and then there's another one that's a step up. That's pretty good too, but it's only $4 for a bottle, and it's really good.
Gosh, I don't have Aldi. Okay, I live in El Paso. No. I don't have Aldi. I don't have Trader Joe's. I don't have cheap wine.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, it's very upsetting. But whenever we go to Tucson, we come back with like at least a case of wine, just because like, we don't do $2 Chuck or $4 Chuck, whatever it is now. But we do love like a really cheap wine because sometimes I don't want to kick the whole bottle and I don't feel so guilty pouring out the rest.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, oh my gosh. Well, it's Thursday and I have a lot to do. And today my kid gets his next belt in karate. So I have a thing. So I'm having an espresso martini to, give me a little energy for the rest of the evening. So cheers. Thank you for being my guest. Cheers, everybody, for joining us today. Oh, that's good. My husband makes my drinks whenever he's home. Good job, husband. Very good job today. It's delicious. So I always introduce this show with a game, and today is no different. We're going to start with a game called Maine Coon Trivia, Fact or Fluff.
Okay.
It is multiple choice, so you don't have to come up with the answers yourself. And this is thanks to ChatGPT that it's a little bit like punny. So this is not my sense of humor. This is ChatGPT's cat lover sense of humor. So the first question I have for you is, what nickname is commonly used to describe the Maine Coon because of its size? A, the gentle giant. B, the fluffy tyrant. C, the couch commander. D, the silent pouncer.
Definitely A.
A. So ChatGPT says these cats can tip the scales at up to 18 pounds and sometimes more, but they're famously friendly. Think teddy bear, but with whiskers and an attitude. How much does Peak weigh?
So he is currently about 20 pounds, but we're expecting him to be between 35 and 40.
I was not prepared for that answer. What?
Yeah, because there's two different kinds of Maine Coons. The American Maine Coons usually cap out at around 18 to 20 pounds, but he's a European Maine Coon and they get bigger. So
forgive me as I catch my breath thinking about a cat that weighs 40 pounds. I mean, I have a cat that weighs 10 and he's a handful. So like, I can't even wrap my head around that. Okay. The second question I have for you is, what's a popular myth about the origin of the Maine Coon's tail? A, it evolved from raccoons. B, it was used as a broom by settlers. C, it was a pirate's parrot in a past life. D, it's detachable in water.
I think A.
Yes, A is the myth. And no, cats and raccoons can't mate. So that is not how they evolved. Science says no. But the fluffy tail and ring patterns got people talking. Maine Coon said nothing. They like a little mystery. Okay. Thanks, ChatGPT, for that. All right. Next one is, what trait is not typical of a Maine Coon? A, dog-like behavior. B, chirping instead of meowing. C, being a diva about water. D, having a short coat. And it's what's not common or not typical of them.
Definitely D.
D, having a short coat. Exactly. These cats are basically walking throw pillows or throw blankets. Sorry. Bonus, many love water. So don't be surprised if yours tries to share a shower or flush the toilet.
This is true. Peak likes playing in his water bowl a lot. So we're definitely cleaning water up a lot around this house.
So how big is his water bowl? Is it like a pool for most cats?
So right now he's using a cat water fountain, but I am desperately trying to get him a dog-sized one because he is quickly outgrowing his cat-sized one. So
I can imagine that would be, and then you're filling those things constantly, I'm sure, if the water's getting everywhere. Okay, so this, and it's funny that you live in Maine, but which U.S. state proudly claims the Maine Coon as its official state cat? A, California. B, Texas. C, Maine. D, New York.
C, Maine.
Shocking. We were all surprised by that answer. So what is your story with... Oh no, I think are we frozen on Instagram? Please tell me we're not.
Hold on, let's see.
I'm looking back on Instagram and now I see nothing. Oh no, we're good.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, perfect. Just checking in on you guys on Instagram. I don't want to leave you out. Okay, so how did you end up in Maine? I know you grew up in Florida. So how did you end up in Maine with a Maine Coon? Well, don't tell me about the Maine Coon part. Just tell me about the Maine part. Yeah.
So my husband's parents bought a farmhouse fixer-upper in Maine. So we started vacationing there in the fall, mostly to see the fall colors because Floridians never get to see that. And so then some things happened with my job that allowed me to work more remotely. And so then we decided to follow the snowbirds, which is what we call it in Florida, the money that goes back and forth between Florida and Maine or New York. And because my husband's a massage therapist, so we're able to follow the seasons since he works in hospitality.
That's amazing. I love that story. We'll talk about when the Maine Coon made his appearance. But for those who are curious about how Maine claimed the Maine Coon, even though we all probably thought that the Maine Coon originated in Maine, it did not. In 1985, Maine made it official. That's one way to keep the tourism purring. So I mean, I don't blame them. I would totally make that the official cat for sure. It makes perfect sense. Okay. Next one. Which historical figure is rumored to have owned ancestors of today's Maine Coons? A, Benjamin Franklin. B, Marie Antoinette. C, Mark Twain. D, Nikola Tesla.
Oh, I don't know this one. Let's go with B.
You got it. Marie Antoinette
really?
is right. Yes. So legend has it her cats were shipped ahead during her failed escape from France and ended up in Maine. The revolutionaries said no to her, but the cats got a new kingdom.
That's amazing. Wow.
That's
I
a
learned
legend. That's a legend. We're going to talk more about the history of Maine Coons as the show progresses. Okay, 6. Maine Coons are famous for what unique vocal trait? A, they can mimic their owner's voice. That would be weird. B, they chirp and trill like birds. C, they can sing in harmony. D, they meow only during full moons.
B.
B, they chirp and trill like birds. According to ChatGPT, these cats don't just meow, they hold entire conversations in bird speak. It's like having a feathered roommate who knocks stuff off the counter. So it does Peak talk a lot?
He does. He's very vocal. It took us a while to get used to it. But it is funny because he also does A, where he like mimics our voices. So he has a different call for each of us, me, my husband, and Summit, depending on who he wants attention from.
That is so cool. I want a video of the different 3 so we can guess who's calling
I know.
who.
Of course, every time I bring out the phone to do it, he's like, oh, I'm going to be quiet now.
That's usually how it works. Yeah, that sounds so cool. Well, they do say that like the meow that cats developed is for us, and it was developed because it sounds like baby meow, like baby cry. To get our attention. So I totally can see them having the ability to do these fancy things with their voices. And boy, do cats have voices. All right. So the last one of the game, what award-winning trait do Maine Coons often win titles for at cat shows? A, best nap pose. B, longest whiskers. C, largest domestic cat. D, most likely to steal the dog's bed.
C,
the largest domestic cat. The Guinness World Record for longest cat ever? Question mark. A Maine Coon named Stewie, over 48 inches long. Yeah. Basically a furry surfboard with purring capabilities. Like that is crazy. Oh my gosh. Great job. You got them all right. Even if you didn't know the legend of Marie Antoinette. That's amazing. Okay, so I obviously want to know. I met you at the CFA Cat Show and Expo, the international one, and anybody who is interested in attending, it's in Cleveland in October. So keep it on your radar, especially if you want to meet awesome cats and see these cat shows that we're going to talk about. But I remember you telling me that Peak just kind of came into your life. Tell us about that.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of.
Tell us about how Peak got to be a cat named Peak.
So it kind of started with Summit. I know we'll probably talk about Summit later, but basically we got Summit by chance, and so he was really lonely, and he ended up playing with his own shadow, and we always wanted a Maine Coon, so we were like, oh, maybe now's the time to get him a friend. So we found an amazing breeder that we really connected with, and we put a deposit down for an American Maine Coon. And then COVID happened, and like it was the whole thing. And then we ended up calling her because we were like, where's our cat, like that we paid for? And so she ended up being like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for calling. I'm so happy because I'm rescuing breeders from Ukraine, and I just got their cats, and they just had like 12 kittens, and we're trying to find homes for them. Do you want one? And we're like, yeah, we'll definitely take one. So he's his parents are from Ukraine. And so he was one of 12 kittens. Yeah.
Did you know he was not an American Maine Coon breed, just knowing he was from Ukraine? Or did you have to learn that he was going to be twice as big later?
We definitely learned a lot about the difference between American and European once we learned that we were going to be getting a European Maine Coon.
Got it.
And my husband wanted the biggest cat possible, so it worked out because he's rather large. So, because that's what the breeder said. She was like, "You guys just wanted a big cat, right?" And we were like, "Yeah, we don't care about gender, color, whatever." Because apparently, some people were very picky about that kind of stuff. But we've always rescued animals, so we were not picky at all. So,
yeah, that is amazing. Okay, so. Did you always have cats? Did you have cats before these two came into your life?
So I've always grown up with cats, but I also grew up when I was a kid. My mom and dad had dogs, cats, birds, hamsters, fish, like all at one time. I still don't know how they did it. Because we had 7 cats, 4 dogs, 2 birds, and 2 hamsters, fish that ended up having babies too. So like all at one time, it was crazy. So yeah, I'm very much an animal lover, but my husband grew up mostly with cats. So
okay, got it. Okay. And when Peak joined Summit, did you have like an instant connection? Because a lot of times bringing 2 cats together can be really rough.
Right. Actually, surprisingly, they got along very well, like right at first. Our breeder gave us some really good tips about how to introduce cats. So when you get a new cat, you want them to imprint on the owner. So you keep them in your bedroom or somewhere where you can hang out with just them for 3 days. And we ended up doing 2 days because Summit really wanted to meet Peak, and they kept playing with each other under the door. And Summit would like put his like look under the door to see Peak and stuff. So when they met each other, they basically were playing automatically. So we were so thankful for, because most cats do not do that at all.
No, it can be a nightmare. Actually, that reminds me of when I brought Bango home, my cat. I didn't know he had to be in my room, honestly. Like this is the first time hearing of this. So I had him in our second bathroom upstairs. And I only had a dog, so I didn't have any cats to introduce him to. But obviously, I wanted it to be a safe introduction. And he yodeled from in there so loud that we finally had to just let them meet each other, because like nobody could get any sleep. And I had like a 3-year-old. So I mean, she's still napping and stuff. I was like, you need to stop yodeling. He would like just yodel for hours. And I think we did like 2 days too. That's all we could do. And my cat and my dogs all get along really well. I mean, none of them play together, so like we don't have that kind of connection within the same species. But my dogs don't even play together. They're old. So So when did you decide to take Peak public on social media, and why not Summit?
So it's kind of an interesting story. So I used to post on Instagram. I used to do like DIY home renovations. I actually renovated. We have a garage apartment that I fully renovated, and we rent that out. And so I was posting all about that on Instagram. And then I was also training Summit at the time, because Summit's older than Peak. I was training him to be leash trained. So when we got Peak, we were like, well, it would be fun to just document both of their story on social media. Plus, it's like a memory for us, and it's more just fun. And then it kind of blew up from there, and now we're here. So
that's so cool. And you took both Peak and Summit to the CFA Expo. Mm-hmm. Do you often take both? Are they like a package deal?
It depends on the situation. So like, for example, we just went to the Global Pet Expo, which has a lot of dogs, and Summit's a rescue. So something happened to him when he was younger, because he does not like dogs at all. He also thinks he's the biggest animal in the room, and he'll charge at them. So we didn't bring him to the Global Pet Expo, but usually he's fine with cats. So we usually bring him when there's other cats.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. So are you going to be at Super Zoo this year at all?
We were hoping to, but I don't know if it's going to work out, because we have a trip shortly after that. And so, we'll see.
I've never been to Global. I go to Super Zoo every year. Last year, there weren't that many influencer cats or celebrity cats, but the year before, I think it was 2023, was amazing, because like they just like opened the doors to everybody. There were cats and dogs everywhere, and it really just added such an energy to it. And I was actually impressed with how many cats and dogs just did fine, like intermixed in there. But then every once in a while, especially in the grooming area, you could hear like the dogs like, wah! And like people pulling them apart, because like not all the grooming dogs are really good at grooming, but they're maybe not good at like seeing other dogs in their space. But for the most part, everybody did so well. It's really good when people know what their celebrity pet or show pet or whatever can handle versus what they can't. Mm-hmm. Have you been to many cat shows, or was CFA your first?
We actually tried showing Peak when he was a kitten, just to be like, what's this world about? Because we ended up finding CFA when we were driving to Orlando to visit my mom, and we saw like a billboard about it. And we were like, oh, that looks fun. Let's go check it out. And so after that experience, we were like, let's show Peak and see how he does. So we showed him twice. The first time he was fine. The second time he was not. He hated being in a cage all day because he's an active cat, so it just was not for him. I mean, he was fine, and he ended up getting some points, which was very exciting for us. But we knew, like, after that we didn't want to put him through something that he hated, so we kind of stopped showing him from there.
I was impressed with the cats at the CFA last year was my first cat show, which I mean, I went from like 0 to 60, right? Like I went from like never having stepped foot in a cat show to literally like doing like a live social media takeover, learning about cat shows live. So I got some snarky comments, I'll tell you that. But
I'm sure.
Yeah, cat people are very specific. Cat show people are very specific about the rules and the this and that. So, and I had to stay till the end on Sunday night because everybody on social media wanted to see like the
winner was.
Yes, the best in show. Yeah. And so they were breaking down the expo and I'm like still holding up my tripod.
I remember that because we were like, what are you still doing here? but we were also because we wanted to see who won as well. So.
That's right. You were there. That's right. We were like the only nerds who stayed behind. There was it was a 15,000 person expo. And I think there was maybe 100 people who stayed for the best in show. But for those people who aren't familiar, like, in this particular one, there was just like rows and rows and rows of like cat breeds and competitors within each breed. And it's lined up alphabetically. CFA, which is the Cat Fanciers Association, does an amazing job of organizing these things. They have very specific rules and regulations, and their judges are the nicest.
They are.
I mean, they're just so like the way they touch these animals, like you would just see how much they honor each breed and how much they like respect what they're doing and the history of each breed. And they're super like knowledgeable. I mean, like just they explain things while they're judging the cat. So they'll be like the tail and the ears and this and that. And like it's all like hand motion. It's so cool. And I remember thinking like these poor cats have been here all day for 2 days, really.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot.
And a lot of them will take them out and play with them because like these people show cats, they know their cat, they can entertain their cat. A lot of them are leash trained, but it was still a lot of work for the cat, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's also the cats, they're used to it. They do the shows all year long. So that's their life, versus Pete, who is like on a leash out on trail and then gets thrown into a cage for 2 days. And he's like, what are you doing?
Exactly. So when you got this big cat, was your plan to put him on a leash? Like, was Summit already on a leash?
Summit was already on a leash, and so we knew we wanted to put Peak on a leash too, so we instantly started putting him on one right away.
Did they both take it to it really well?
Yeah, actually they did. But we also we started them both pretty young, so
Got it. Yeah, it's harder like to put an 8-year-old cat on a leash. Okay, guys. So don't get mad at your cat if they go from like couch potato to like not wanting to be on trails. So do you have a recommendation on any like tools that people can use?
Yeah.
I know you have like a ton of like advice. If you go to her social media, A Cat Named Peak, you can see like her link tree, and I saw a bunch of like advice that you give. Yeah. But my biggest concern for people is always like the harness, like, and knowing that like no harness is really 100%. So like preventing the pet loss is huge for me. What advice do you have for that?
Well, first of all, we do have a leash training guide that's on our Instagram. So if anyone is seriously interested in that, it goes through everything that we did in very great detail. And then, but for harnesses, it just depends on the cat, and you don't know which harness is going to work for your cat until you try it. So here, I'll show you Peak's. He's right here. So Peak has the vest style harness, which wraps around his chest and his back, and it has 2 clips here, and then the leash connects here, so that makes it super safe and escape proof. And then Summit has more of like a thin style where it goes around his neck and then goes around his belly, and that just works for both of them fairly well, because Peak, for the thinner style, he can choke himself if he like goes and chases a squirrel or something.
Right.
And then Summit just does not like to be restrained. He likes to have that more of a free feeling. So there's all different kinds of harnesses, and my friend is actually trying to put her cats on harnesses. So I've been giving her different ones to try. But that's the biggest thing, is find a harness that works for your cat and that your cat's comfortable in, because you don't want them to be out on trail uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to shout out to Chloe DeVita from Blog Post. She says she met Peak at Global and he was already huge and adorable. That is true. I mean, when I met him last year, so how old is he now?
He's 2.5 right now.
So, okay, so I met him, he was 2. He must have just turned 2.
Yep.
So when do they reach full size?
So each color of Maine Coon grows at different speeds. Maine Coons are given up till 5 to 6 years to fully develop. So he is probably going to be one of those slow growers. We've noticed that black Maine Coons tend to be more of a fast grower, at least with our experience going to different shows and stuff. So it all just depends. But the main thing you can tell is like, if you know the parents, you'll know how big a cat's going to get.
Right, exactly. And what is Summit? Is he just a domestic short hair?
Yeah, he's a rescue short hair, yeah.
Okay, and so how big is he?
He is about 15 pounds.
So
he's a big cat too.
He's tiny though. He's going to be tiny compared to his sibling, like
when
he's full grown. Do they like play rough where Summit's like, get off of me?
No, because Summit's the alpha. So they both play rough together, which is why Summit is so heavy, because he's so dense with muscle, because he's having to wrestle a Peak.
Go Summit. Yes, Summit. Stand up to the big guy. Yes, I love that. Okay, so you work with brands, you do appearances. What kind of other stuff do you do, and how did you get into this?
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. But yes, we do work with a lot of brands, but we also, our main focus is to try and support small business brands that are like developing new products out there that can really benefit the adventure cat world. So that's mostly what we do. And then we do a lot of hiking with the cats. That's our thing, because they both love to hike. And then we also discovered that Peak likes bike riding too. So we take him bike riding, and he also likes sledding when we see snow in Maine, which is super rare. But he likes that too. And then on the side, like outside of Peak stuff, I work at a little store in Maine, which I love working there. So.
Oh, how awesome. Okay. So when did you decide like, obviously you went online, you went on social, you grew a following, but like, when did you transition to like celebrity cat status, like making appearances and like, shaking paws and stuff?
Yeah. So CFA was our first one, and we ended up, the second time we showed Peak, which is in Sanford, Orlando, and when we were there, the social person that handles their social media told us about the CFA International Expo, because we kind of made like showing Peak into his own little mini meet and greet. So we like had a banner and like talked about adventure cats and like different leashes and stuff. So she reached out to us and was like, you should really apply to be a celebrity cat. And I was like, okay. So I applied, like not expecting to get in at all. And then we got in, and I was like, oh, this is exciting. And then it kind of just like blew up from there. And now I'm having like meet and greets like every month or different meetings with brands, and it's been fun and crazy. So
that is so cool. I love it. And what's really funny is from like me not knowing, like I would have said you guys had been doing it for a long time when I met you at CFA. Like you had everything so organized. The Peak and Summit were so well behaved. You had them in the stroller. They were so chill. Like they were great at the hotel. Like I'm impressed.
Yeah, they're very well socialized. That's part of what we talk about in our leash training guide, is getting them desensitized. So taking them into loud places or, different environments that they're not in all the time, just so that they can, because studies have shown that cats are still going to get scared no matter what. But what you're doing is you're training their recovery time. So the more they're exposed to different things, the faster that they will recover.
I love that. That's so important. Have you guys had any like really scary moments where either at these shows or at hiking that people may kind of want to know that are a possibility before they go out and start trying this at home?
Nothing too scary, because we always like keep them in a good harness and good hold on their leash. But like sometimes if Peak sees a squirrel, which he loves, he'll try to go after it. And so as long as I have a good hold on him, he won't get away. But we did have a recent scare. We have like a fenced in small patio thing that we put up, and it's like not very secure. And so there was a windy day here in Florida, and so there was a crack that developed between the wall and the fence, and so Peak and Summit got out, and we found Peak right away. Summit, we found him like 20 minutes later. So now they both have trackers because that was not the first time that happened. But yeah.
We have a patio that I didn't realize how cat friendly my house is until I got a cat. And we have this patio that everybody was like, just knock it down and open it up because we don't really have bugs here. It's the desert, so it's not really necessary. But the second we got a cat, it was like, this is amazing. Like, I love that we're able to do this, right? Let him out and have a good time. And he recently got out too. He recently got out. Yes.
Oh, no.
He recently got out. And it was because my kid threw like what's it called? Like a football or a soccer ball into the netting, into the mesh.
Oh,
yeah. And that happened. So I want to go into our second game because I feel like we need to dig in further into Maine Coons. We have to honor them with a little bit of history here. So this game is called Maine Coon True or False. And it really is very quick, and I think we'll learn a little something or other. So first question is, Maine Coons were once called coon cats.
I think that's true, but I could be wrong.
It is true. In the 19th century, they were often referred to as Maine cats or coon cats, possibly due to the raccoon myth or their resemblance to wild animals. All right, next one. The Maine Coon was the first cat breed to win a U.S. cat show. True or false?
I want to say that's true.
It is true. A Maine Coon named Cozy, Cozy, won the very first Northern American cat show in 1895 at Madison Square Garden. And that's according to CFA, the Cat Fanciers Association. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, then the next one. The breed nearly went extinct in the mid-20th century. True or false?
I think that's true.
It is true. With the rise of exotic cat breeds like Persians and Siamese, Maine Coons lost popularity and were considered nearly extinct in the 1950s. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
And that's from the CFA History Archive. If you didn't know, CFA not only hosts all of these events and promotes like, proper breeding standards and all that, they also have like a cat breed history, like an actual place, like an archive. There was a table at the CFA where I approached and I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, we keep all the history of cat breeds.
That's amazing.
It really is. It's so cool. Okay, next one. Many believe, true or false, many believe the breed descended from long-haired cats brought over by European sailors, possibly Vikings, linking them to the Norwegian forest cat. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the most convincing. To me, that's the most convincing of all of the like folklore, because there's really no exact history, but would the European Maine Coon be somehow related to the Norwegian forest cat in some way? Could they?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't really dug into the history of
There's not a lot.
Maine Coons. I always just assumed that they took the American Maine Coons and just like somehow breeded them bigger. But I could be wrong on that.
Okay. Well, there's no way to know. But this is a really cool bit of trivia. When the breed almost went extinct in 1950, the Maine Cat Club, the Central Maine Cat Club, was actually the group that saved them. And then in 1976, the Maine Coon was officially recognized by CFA. And then today, it's actually one of the most popular cat breeds in the U.S., known for its affectionate nature and dog-like loyalty. Would you say that Maine Coons are more dog or more cat?
They're definitely more dog-like.
Really? I didn't know what you were going to say about that. I wasn't sure how you were going to respond to that. That's so cool.
Yeah, they're very smart cats. Like I think the Abyssinian is the only one that's smarter than the Maine Coon. I could be wrong, but they're very trainable. So like Peak knows all sorts of tricks and different things. I mean, you can teach any cat tricks, but Peak, compared to Summit, Peak learns the tricks way faster than Summit does. And yeah, I would definitely say they're more like dogs. He greets us at the door and everything. So
amazing. Okay, so cool. Okay, how do you feel about Bobby Flay's cats?
The Maine Coons there?
Yes.
Oh.
Do you know them? Are you familiar with them? My friend Jessica said I had to ask about them today. Hi, Jessica Fisher. Love you, bestie. But she asked me, and I was like, I don't know anything about Bobby Flay's cats. So I had to Google it.
Yeah, so I don't really know the history of them. I do know that one of his Maine Coons recently passed at 7, I think it was. Yeah, and so Nacho
was Nacho the one that's the idea behind
the face of Made by Nacho?
Oh no.
Yeah, which we learned at Global. That's how we found out about that. But all I knew was that he had Maine Coons and started a food brand on it, which Peak and Summit love eating their food. So
really? Okay, so Bobby Flay, the renowned chef, has these Maine Coons. One of them is Nacho. One of them is Stella. If Nacho passed away, my condolences to Bobby Flay and his whole family, because you could tell that it wasn't just a shtick, that he adores those cats. Yes. And Bobby Flay created a brand of cat food in Nacho's honor, and it says on their Instagram created by Nacho and Bobby Flay. So he was the one in charge. Bobby Flay was just the sous chef. And then he has Stella, who has her own Instagram as well. And Stella has maybe 4,000 more followers than you, and he's Bobby Flay. So I gotta give you some credit. Yeah, you've done a good job here, because if Bobby Flay has created a Stella has 25, or you have 22,000.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that there was his other cat had an Instagram.
Well, this is the thing. It's on Nacho's bio. It says my sister's name is Stella. So they're using all the things to promote her, and Peak is still almost outnumbering her. So go Peak, go Peak. So one of the things that you answered, I always ask my guests questions about their pet peeves when it comes to pets. And your answer, I totally feel it 100%. It was that you don't like when people don't meet their pet's needs. What does meeting a Maine Coon's needs look like?
Well, it's more of listening to their pet's needs, especially when you're training them to be an adventure cat. So for example, we live seasonally in Florida, and it can get pretty hot, and Pete can get overheated. And so if it's not really fair to the cat, if you see them getting overheated, to just keep them outside. You got to listen to the cat and bring them inside, or get them wet to cool them down, and different things like that. And another example is we could have brought Summit to the Global Pet Expo, even though we knew there was dogs, but it would have stressed him out. And I just don't think that that's fair to him to be under that much stress for 3 full days. So.
No, absolutely not. And you don't want to leave him in a hotel room alone while you do your meet and greets and stuff either. Right. So yeah, knowing their limits is super important. And Maine Coons are really, they're winter cats. They're cold weather cats. They even have fuzzy paws. That's why Pete does so well sledding. I did see the video of him sledding. He's amazing at it. It's so cool to see, but obviously in Florida you have to be extra careful with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a cooling vest for him that we got from Roughwear, and so you can soak it in water. Even if you're out on trail and there's water, you can soak it in a river or something and get it wet, and that helps keep them cool, because they stay cool on their belly. So it has that cooling pad there. And then we also have a cooling pad by Green Pet that we keep in their stroller that is pressure activated. So when they lay on it, it gets cool. It gets a cooling gel.
Nice. Super nice. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So if somebody fell in love with the idea of having the biggest cat ever, a Maine Coon, whether it's American or European, what advice do you have for them about whether or not they're a good match?
So I think the biggest thing is you want to make sure the cat, well, first that you can afford to feed them, because it's really expensive. They eat 4 times the amount of a normal cat. At least Peak does. So
wow, that is such good information.
Yeah, make sure, because we didn't know that. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but it's not really something you think about when you get a cat, because you just oh, they're just a cat, they'll just eat the normal amount. But no, they eat a lot of food. And then the second thing is you want to make sure you have the time and the to pay attention to brushing them, because if they get matted, it can be really painful for them. And then you hopefully, if they're really bad, you get them shaved. But hopefully it doesn't get to that point. So
how often do you have to brush him?
We brush him at least once a week. It's really not that bad for Maine Coon upkeep, but you just want to make sure you get different brushes. So you want to get the, I call it the rake, which is like a dematter brush.
Yeah.
That one is the best brush for Maine Coons. And then we have the thinner one, like the flea brush and different things like that. So you'll need an assortment of different brushes when you have a long-haired cat versus a short-haired cat.
How do you feel about cat baths for Maine Coons?
So because we started showing Peek a little young, he is not a fan of the shower, but he's getting used to it as he's getting older. Like he just kind of sits there and takes it now. And so we do have to bathe Peek, especially when he was a kitten, because he was so messy all the time. Like either he had stuff on his butt or he was getting into something. And so he got baths all the time, like usually most like his waist down, basically.
Yeah.
But then when we started showing him, we had to bathe him fully. But because he is an adventure cat and he likes to roll in all sorts of stinky stuff, he gets a bath like at least once a month. So,
oh my gosh. A bath and potential manscaping as needed.
Yeah.
I've had long-haired dogs that needed manscaping too. And it was like, oh, it's time because I cannot have that booty in my house. Yeah. Okay. So do you have any recommendations for somebody who should not get a Maine Coon?
If you live in a hot area and you're not able to keep them cool, I just don't get a Maine Coon. There's so many other long-haired breeds, if that's what you want, that have one layer of fur versus a Maine Coon that has 3 layers of fur. Like there's the long-haired Bengal has 1 layer of fur, which is a beautiful cat. And there's so many other ones. We love the long-haired Bengal. That's if we were to ever get another cat, that's what we would get.
Well, you like your wild cats. How much playtime do you do indoors with them?
Oh, well, we try to take them for a walk each day, about 3-mile walk, mostly in their stroller. So that's about an hour and a half each day of activity. And then at home, we play with them for a minimum of 30 minutes or more.
That's amazing. Okay, guys. So, I mean, I can't imagine a better person to learn about Maine Coons from, because you went from like 0 to 60 with like a domestic short hair to like a European 40-pound Maine Coon. So I just want to propose a toast to you for being my guest. Thank you so much. It's been so fun talking to you. I am so appreciative.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Is he around there that we can take a peek?
You want me to get Peek?
No, you don't have to get up. You don't have to get up. You don't have to get up. No. If we can get him later, we'll get him later. Well, I also want to propose a toast to my executive producer, Mark Winter. Thank you, Mark, for allowing me to do these fun interviews. And to our audience for joining us. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and my guests. I love to bring you these amazing people, just like Kaitlin, who are doing such cool things in the pet industry. So let's toast together. Here's to a life covered in pet hair, because there's no better way to live. Cheers. To learn more about Kaitlin and her amazing house full of cats, she is at a cat named Peek, right? Is there any other like social media handle you want to promote?
No, we kept it pretty streamlined on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's all a cat named Peek.
A cat named Peek. And then to learn more about Covered in Pet Hair, please visit coveredinpethair.com or petliferadio.com. Thank you guys all for watching and for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if you want to grab him, we'll wait.
Okay, hold on. I'll go grab him.
We've been talking about Peek so much that maybe I feel like we need to get a little sneak peek. Those who joined at the very beginning, Peek did make an appearance. But why not close out with him if he's willing? Because he is a celebrity, so we gotta respect their downtime too. If you have any questions for Kaitlin, I'm sure she would love to say hi on her social media platforms. And just a shout out, Salt Life Girl, that's your sister. Oh my gosh, Salt Life Girl, love Kaitlin, Peek, and Summit. So Kaitlin, your sister is sending you love. And then my friend Jessica says, if I become a crazy old cat lady, I will be getting Maine Coons. So adorable. I'm all for that, Jessica. I am all for that. All right, let's see. Hi,
this is
beautiful
Peek.
Boy. Oh,
he was sleeping.
He's so big. You know what I love about your social media is where you stand and you show him like how long he is compared to you. How tall are you for our reference? Oh, and that's Summit. He's so sweet.
I'm just under 5'6", so 5'5".
Okay, so you see, I asked because I'm 5'1", so it wouldn't really be that hard to make him look really long next to me. But you're 5'6", and he's like half your body, if not more.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps us up. We saw both Summit and Peak. We are so grateful, Kaitlin, for your time. Thank you so much. And I hope I run into you maybe at CFA in October.
Yeah, we're hoping to be there.
Yeah, same here. I think everybody who was there last year is hoping to be back because it was such a great time. So let's see. Desiree, call us.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again for joining. Bye.